Arrays are found on the Modify menu, so these are my arrays. This command distributes objects into any combination of rows or columns. Now you'll notice there are three types. We can either have a rectangular array, we can have a path array, or I can have a polar array. We're going to start off and I'm going to show you how to do a rectangular array. So to start off with, I'm just going to draw any shape on my drawing. So I'm going to draw a small rectangle. If I now highlight my rectangle and press on the array command, what you'll notice here is it then gives me a basic pattern. So I've got the default is always 3 rows and 4 columns. The top arrow increases the number of rows. So if I click on the top arrow, can you see as I drag up, I can increase the number of rows that I've got. The next arrow down increases the distance between these. So if I now click on that, can you notice as I move up, I'm actually increasing the distance between my arrays. So by dragging down, it gets smaller. By dragging up, it gets larger. So there is my distance. The right button, so this one here, what that will do is it'll increase the number of columns in the array. So I've increased the number of columns in the array. The leftmost arrow, so this one here, again, what this one will do is it'll increase the distance between the columns in the array. So if I can come right back there and do that. The bottom square, so this one here, by clicking on that, it allows me to move the array. So I'm going to move my array over to there. And the rightmost square enables both rows and columns to be added. So if I go to this square here, click on that, notice I can increase or decrease the number of rows and columns at the same time. Now going to have a look at a polar array. A polar array will distribute an object evenly in a circular pattern. So if we use a circle as an example, so I'm going to go up to here, just draw a basic circle. The next thing we do is we're going to choose array, so we go up to the array menu and I wish to do a polar array. So the first thing we need to do is to select the object, so I'm going to select that as my object and hit enter. It's then saying, well, where do you want the base points to be? You can either click anywhere on the direct drawing, or if you wish you could use coordinates. So in this case I'm going to put, I would like my array to be centered at 100, 100. When I hit enter, you can now see that it's created a circular array. If we select the center square, that allows me to move my array anywhere I wish on my drawing. So if I move it across to there, the top menu also allows you to change the objects within your array. At the moment, I've got the fill over 360 degrees. If I change that to 180 degrees, so I'm going to go to there and say, no, I wish that to be over 180 degrees. When I hit enter, you can now see it's still got the 6 objects, which we can see from items, but it's now done it over 180 degrees rather than 360 degrees. The square will increase or decrease the radius of the array. So if I click on this square here, can you see I can move it up, or I can move it down, so it's changing the radius of the array. Now if I wish to do accuracy, what I can also do, if I click on the square, I can also specify the radius. So I might say I want the radius to be 70. So when I hit enter, I've now got from the center to the center of this object, it would be a radius of 70 degrees. Again, go back to fill, I can change that to 270 degrees. So when I hit enter, it's now gone. It's got my circles covered over 3/4 of a circle. The final array that we're going to have a look at is something called a path array. In order to do this, we have to define both the path that we wish the objects to go along and the object itself. So I'm going to start off and define my object. I'm just going to literally have a circle. We're then going to define the path. And for me, I'm just going to make the path on an arc. So if I just do a simple arc, so let's have our arc. So if we go up to the array menu, from the array menu select path array, you'll notice then the command line starts to ask you questions. The first thing it would like to know is what's the object, so we're going to select our square and hit enter. The next thing it's asking me for is what's the curve, so if I go to the curve, when I left click, notice it then starts to form the array around my arc. So if I got various options that I can change, I could change the number of rows. So if I go up to where it says rows, if I change that to 2, then it will give me 2 rows. If I go back, change that back to 1, so I'm going to go back in here and change that back to 1 and hit enter, it goes back to 1 row. What I can also do is to change the number of items in my array. So if I've got 8 at the moment, if I wish I could change that to 2. So when I hit left click, notice that I've now got 2 items in my array. Distance between here, again I could change the distance between. At the moment it's saying the distance between those two is 46.6 millimeters. So if I go into here and say, well, actually I'd like the distance between to be 10 and hit on enter, notice that they've now gone closer together.